Have you ever found yourself thinking, why? Why is it so hard to connect with people as I get older? Maybe you've noticed that some relationships feel a little more distant, or that it's not as easy to meet new people like it used to be. It's a natural part of life, but it doesn't mean that deeper, meaningful connections are out of reach. In fact, now is the perfect time to strengthen the relationships in your life and even create new ones. After 60, the way we connect with others may shift, but that doesn't mean we should stop trying to build strong, healthy relationships. In fact, it's more important than ever to nurture those connections. Healthy relationships, whether with family, friends, or even new acquaintances, are key to maintaining emotional well-being, mental clarity, and physical health as we age. Strong bonds provide support, joy, and a sense of belonging, which is something we all need, no matter our age. Today, I want to share 5 simple tips for strengthening those relationships after 60. These are actionable steps that can make a real difference, no matter where you're starting from. Whether you're looking to grow closer to your family or reconnect with old friends, these tips will help you build deeper connections that last. Let's start with the first tip. Make time for quality conversations. Now, you might be thinking, but I talk to people all the time. And I'm sure you do. But let's think about the type of conversations you're having. Often, as we age, our conversations can become more transactional. Talking about health updates, errands, or the weather. While that's perfectly fine, it's important to make time for deeper, more meaningful conversations too. Try setting aside some time each week for a more intimate catch-up with someone important to you. It could be a phone call, a video chat, or even sitting down in person if you can. The key here is to shift the conversation away from daily chores and toward more personal topics. Share your thoughts and feelings, talk about your dreams or memories, and ask others about theirs. The simple act of listening attentively shows that you care, and it allows both parties to share and bond in a meaningful way. For example, I know someone who spends time every Sunday afternoon calling her childhood friends. They share stories about their week, but she also encourages them to talk about something they're passionate about. Whether it's a book they're reading, a hobby they've picked up, or a memory they hold dear, by making the conversation more personal and less about what needs to get done, she deepens her friendships and strengthens those connections. The second tip I want to share with you is to be open to new experiences and opportunities to meet people. As we age, it's easy to stick to familiar routines, but one of the best ways to make new friends and strengthen existing relationships is by stepping out of your comfort zone. Try something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet had the chance. Whether it's a cooking class, a painting group, or a local community event, new experiences are a great way to meet like-minded people. If you're someone who's more introverted or has trouble starting conversations, don't worry. Just showing up is already a big step. You don't have to become best friends with everyone you meet, but the more people you interact with, the greater the chance of building a meaningful connection. It could be as simple as chatting with a neighbor or striking up a conversation with someone in a hobby group. Over time, these small interactions can turn into lasting friendships. Let me give you an example. I know a couple who, after they retired, decided to join a local gardening club. At first, they were shy about meeting new people, but they loved gardening and wanted to learn more. Soon enough, they found themselves talking to people with similar interests. What started as a hobby soon blossomed into real, lasting friendships. They even began having weekly get-togethers outside of the group. By stepping out of their usual routine and trying something new, they deepened their social circle and enriched their lives. Now that we've covered the first 2 tips, making time for deeper conversations and being open to new experiences, Let's talk about the third tip, which is about nurturing existing relationships with small acts of kindness. It's easy to assume that we show people we care simply by being around them, but small, thoughtful gestures can go a long way in strengthening relationships. Sometimes, it's the little things that make all the difference. Think about someone you care about. What's something small you could do to brighten their day? Maybe it's sending a thoughtful card, offering to help with something they're struggling with, or even just remembering something they mentioned in passing and checking in on it later. These small acts of kindness can make people feel valued and appreciated, which helps create a deeper connection. For instance, a woman I know regularly bakes cookies and delivers them to her neighbors. It's not a grand gesture, but it's one that makes her friends and neighbors feel seen and cared for. In return, she's built a wonderful network of support around her. People who trust her and appreciate her. It's the little things that make relationships strong and meaningful. Now, if you're wondering where you might fit in with these first 3 tips, don't worry. These things don't need to take up a huge chunk of your day. And you don't need to become someone you're not to make a difference. The key is consistency and making time for people in a way that feels natural for you. And that's a great place to wrap up part 1. We've talked about making time for conversations that matter, stepping outside your routine to meet new people, and nurturing existing relationships with small acts of kindness. These are simple, but powerful ways to strengthen relationships, and I believe they can make a big difference. But don't go anywhere yet. There are still 2 more tips that I'm excited to share with you. So, let's move on to part 2, where we'll explore more ways to deepen those connections and live a fulfilling social life. Part 2, strengthening relationships with empathy and quality time. Welcome back. Now that we've covered some great ways to start building deeper connections through meaningful conversations, embracing new experiences, and showing small acts of kindness, I want to share a couple of more tips to really solidify those bonds and ensure your relationships thrive as you get older. These next 2 tips will focus on empathy and spending quality time with the people who matter most in your life. Let's dive right in, starting with the importance of practicing empathy in your relationships. If you're like many of us, you've probably experienced moments when you just don't see eye to eye with someone. Maybe it's a difference of opinion, a misunderstanding, or simply a situation where you feel like the other person isn't understanding your perspective. These things happen, especially in close relationships. But the key to maintaining strong bonds as we age lies in our ability to practice empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's about putting yourself in their shoes and trying to see the world from their perspective, even when it's challenging. And let me tell you, empathy is a game changer when it comes to strengthening relationships, especially as we get older and experience more complexities in life. For example, let's say you've been feeling a bit lonely lately, but your daughter or friend is going through a tough time, too. It's easy to feel frustrated, thinking, why isn't anyone reaching out to me? But practicing empathy means acknowledging that they might be going through something difficult, and, instead of pulling away, offering your support in a way that fits both your needs. By showing empathy, you open the door for more authentic, vulnerable, and honest conversations. Empathy builds trust and lets people know that they are seen and heard, which strengthens the emotional connection between you. And the best part, it works both ways. When you show empathy to others, they're more likely to show it back to you. It becomes a beautiful cycle that keeps the bond strong. Now, empathy doesn't mean you always have to agree with the other person. In fact, it's about acknowledging the feelings or experiences that might be different from your own and respecting them. Maybe your neighbor is a little more forgetful lately, or a friend has been withdrawing because they're dealing with something personal. Instead of getting frustrated or taking it personally, try to pause and consider what they might be going through. Ask questions, listen without judgment, and let them know you care. The next tip I want to dive into is one of my favorites: spending quality time together. As we age, we tend to get caught up in the daily grind. We might be busy with responsibilities, errands, or even just keeping up with household chores. But one of the most valuable things we can do to strengthen relationships is carve out time just to be with someone. It's easy to let time slip away, but setting aside moments for shared experiences is what builds lasting memories and deeper bonds. Quality time doesn't mean grand gestures or expensive outings. It's about being fully present and engaged with the person you're spending time with. This could be anything from enjoying a cup of tea together in the afternoon, going for a walk, watching a favorite TV show, or even cooking a meal together. The key is to be focused on each other in those moments, not distracted by the phone, the television, or other things that can pull your attention away. For instance, I know a couple who has made it a habit to spend Sunday afternoons together working on a puzzle. It's not about the puzzle itself, it's about being present with one another in a low-pressure, relaxed setting. They talk, laugh, and enjoy each other's company without worrying about the time. These simple, shared moments create a sense of connection that deepens their relationship. And this doesn't only apply to romantic partners. It works just as well with friends, family, and even new acquaintances you're building relationships with. The more you prioritize quality time, the more you'll feel the strength of those bonds. You'll find that spending time together in this way naturally leads to stronger connections and a deeper sense of trust. Now, if you're feeling like your schedule is just too packed to find that quality time, don't worry. It doesn't have to be a long-time commitment. Even small, meaningful moments can make a huge difference. The secret is being intentional about it. You can even set up regular check-ins with friends or family members, where you commit to just catching up, whether it's over the phone, a video call, or in person. These shared moments are also great for making new connections. You might be surprised how powerful spending a little time with someone can be. A lot of us find it hard to make friends as we get older, but inviting someone for a simple coffee date or to do an activity together can lay the foundation for a meaningful relationship. It's important to remember that nurturing relationships is an ongoing process, and small efforts can create a big impact. Practicing empathy helps deepen understanding, while quality time fosters connection. Together, these two tips can take your relationships to new heights. At this point, we've explored the first 4 tips for strengthening relationships: meaningful conversations, being open to new experiences, nurturing relationships with kindness, and practicing empathy. You've probably already started thinking about the people in your life who would benefit from these changes. But there's still one more tip I want to share, and it's one that brings everything together. So, stay tuned. And in part 3, we'll talk about the final tip that will help you maintain and grow even stronger relationships after 60. Trust me, this last one is a game changer. Part 3, the power of forgiveness and giving back. Welcome back. We've already covered a lot of ground when it comes to strengthening relationships after 60. From meaningful conversations to the importance of empathy and spending quality time with those you care about. These tips are truly powerful on their own, but there's one final piece of the puzzle that can make all the difference in how we relate to others: the power of forgiveness and giving back. Let's start with forgiveness, because this one can be a little tricky, can't it? Sometimes, when we've been hurt by someone or let down, it's easy to hold on to that pain. After all, It's only human to feel upset when someone we love says or does something that hurts us. But the thing is, holding on to grudges or past hurts only weighs us down. It keeps us from moving forward and deepening our relationships. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for freeing yourself and others from the past, so you can build healthier, more positive connections moving forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget what happened or even pretend that everything's okay. It's about making the choice to release the anger, the hurt, or the resentment for your own peace of mind. And it's about understanding that people make mistakes. We all do, and sometimes we unintentionally hurt the ones we love. When you let go of grudges, it opens up space for healing, growth, and stronger relationships. Let me share a personal story. I know a woman in her late 60s who had been estranged from her sister for several years. After a heated disagreement, both had held on to hurtful words and actions, and it was a painful divide. But after some time, the woman realized how much she missed her sister and how her life felt incomplete without her. Instead of continuing to dwell on the past, she reached out and extended an olive branch. At first, it was awkward, but over time, they both learned to forgive each other and rebuild their relationship. Today, they're closer than ever, sharing meals, holidays, and simple conversations, all because one of them decided to take that first step and forgive. I know this can feel daunting, especially if the pain runs deep, but remember that forgiveness is for you, not just the other person. It's about giving yourself the gift of peace and allowing the relationship to evolve. Sometimes, the first step is just letting go of the expectation that things will be exactly as they were before the hurt occurred. And that's okay. Relationships change, but that doesn't mean they can't become more meaningful in new ways. Now, the second part of this final tip, giving back to others, is just as important, if not more. As we get older, we often find ourselves reflecting on what really matters in life. It's no longer about accumulating more things or chasing after fleeting goals. It's about finding ways to enrich the lives of others. Giving back, whether through acts of service, kindness, or even simply offering your time and attention, is one of the best ways to strengthen your relationships and feel more connected. Think about the last time someone did something kind for you. Maybe it was a small gesture, like offering to carry your groceries or sending a thoughtful card. Didn't it make you feel appreciated? Now, imagine how much it means when you take the time to do something meaningful for someone else. Giving back doesn't always have to be a big, grand gesture. Sometimes it's the little things that count the most. You might consider volunteering at a local charity, visiting a neighbor who's feeling lonely, or even just lending a helping hand to a family member who's going through a tough time. It doesn't have to take a lot of time or effort, but the impact is profound. When you give to others, it doesn't just improve their lives, it enriches yours as well. It brings a sense of fulfillment and purpose, and it strengthens your emotional ties with those around you. I've spoken to many people who have found that volunteering in their community has not only given them a sense of purpose, but it has also introduced them to new friendships. For example, a man in his early 70s who had lost his spouse a few years earlier decided to volunteer at his local animal shelter. Not only did he find joy in helping the animals, but he also formed lasting friendships with other volunteers. This gave him a sense of belonging and a deep feeling of connection to others that he hadn't experienced in a long time. When you give, you also receive. And the best part is, these acts of kindness don't just improve your relationship with others. They can also improve your relationship with yourself. They remind you of your worth and ability to make a positive impact, no matter your age. In fact, giving back to others can also help you maintain your own sense of independence. It allows you to feel more engaged in the world around you and can provide a sense of satisfaction and self-worth. This is especially important as we age, when we might sometimes start to feel a bit isolated or disconnected from the activities we once enjoyed. But by reaching out to others, whether through acts of kindness or volunteering, you're not only strengthening your relationships, you're also keeping yourself active, engaged, and fulfilled. So, to wrap up everything we've talked about in this video, strengthening relationships after 60 isn't about big, sweeping changes. It's about small, intentional actions that foster deeper connections and create lasting bonds. Whether it's through meaningful conversations, showing empathy, giving quality time, practicing forgiveness, or giving back to others, each of these steps plays a role in nurturing the relationships that truly matter. Remember, it's never too late to invest in your relationships, and even the smallest effort can create beautiful, lasting change. As you move forward, continue to show up for the people you love, and don't be afraid to show them how much you care. Relationships are what make life truly rich and meaningful, and by taking small steps every day, you'll continue to grow those connections, making your life even more fulfilling. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these tips were helpful, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe you have some experiences or advice of your own to share. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos to help you live your best life after 60. Here's to deeper, more meaningful relationships and to living life to the fullest at any age.